Good morning, guys. Welcome to another session. So this session here again was requested by supervisors because you guys are getting given more responsibilities out there, so you can be more versatile in the workplace. So this session looks at planning and preparing to work as a safety spotter or observer. Right, it's part of the unit that's listed there of working as a safety observer or a spotter. So this will be again useful to your roles that are coming up. You have more responsibilities in the workplace and so on, pretty much. So just make sure when you do the session, you understand the responsibilities when you do this job and what it entails of. So before we start, I'll just pass this sign-on sheet around. Just put your names and details on there, and then we start. You know, how are you guys feeling this morning?
Good, sir.
Feeling good? How was the morning pre-start meeting?
Yes.
No issues? That's all good. That's all good. So let's just sign on there. And as we're signing on, I'll also do a little bit of housekeeping so you guys can know where things are. So if you need something to drink, the kitchen is just outside the meeting room here. You just head straight and you find the kitchen there. If you need the bathrooms or anything, just get out the door and then turn left and keep heading that way, and you'll find the toilet. And what's it called? If you need to make a phone call or anything, please just step out of the classroom and make your call, then come back in. If you can put your phones on silent, that would be great, so that we know that we won't have any distractions. And throughout the session, if you have any questions that you want to ask or any clarification that you need, please just let me know, and then I will make sure I provide those answers for you. Right? And yeah, don't be shy to ask questions. At the end of this session, we'll also have a feedback session where you can let me know what things can be improved on for the session, how you find the session, or if there's anything else you want to learn moving forward, and so on. As you guys are finishing with the attendance sheet, we'll also show you our evacuation process. So if something does go wrong on site, right, if there's a fire or if we need to evacuate, there's a gas leak or something, we'll go to the master point. So you hear an alarm going off, just stay calm and alert and wait for my instructions. What we'll do is we'll get up in a calmly and orderly manner, we'll head towards the exit, and then we'll make our way to the master point. And we'll stay at the master point until your name has been ticked off and the all clear has been given. If we're allowed to come back to the area, we'll come back. Otherwise, we'll just wait for the emergency services to do what they need to do, and also let us know if there's anything that's needed from us. Any questions on that before we start? Alright, good. Again, so the main objective of this lesson is for you guys to know what it means to be a safety observer or spotter, and what your responsibilities will be, and what things to identify when you're out there working as a spotter or observer, right? And we'll have a few group discussions here. Just ask a few questions, and I'll also ask you some questions, and we'll go on that way. So what is a spotter, right? So a spotter is someone who's out there pretty much directing traffic. It's pretty much the eyes of the operator, because the operator has blind spots in their vehicles, or sometimes they're way too high up or way too low to the ground, or they're just focusing on their task. So that spotter is an additional eye for that person to let them know that they're operating safely, and if there's anything else coming their way, they can let them know. If they're about to hit something or hit someone, they can also let them know. They also control the traffic in the area, right? So when let's say you're operating an excavator and you're digging a hole, and then someone wants to come past you, you can say, hey, wait until further instructions are given to you, right? And so this involves a lot of things, right? It's a bit about communicating with your voice to people. We also have two-way radios where you can communicate via UHF radio for people in other plants who may not be able to hear you. And another one is hand signals, right? To use hand signals so people can see what you're doing. So a scenario here. Oh, question.
Do you need training before you become a spotter?
Yes, generally you do. So that way we can understand what our requirements are, and understand what your requirements are in the role, and if there's anything that's you might not know, you'll find it in this training here.
Is there like a guidebook or something?
Yeah, yeah. There is a process that's documented for being a spotter, and we can get that to you as well. After the session, you guys will receive that as well, and you something to refer to anytime you need assistance with spotting and so on, right? But before we start, I'll just show you a video of what of why we need spotters, so we can get a general understanding, and then we can start having a few discussions and just chatting.
Let's be honest, this property is pretty ugly, and it's also tiny at just 97 square.
In this video, we're discussing all things spotter. So, what is a spotter? Well, spotters are individuals trained to watch working or moving equipment to prevent the equipment from coming into contact with persons or property, causing damage, injury, or fatality. Thousands of accidents could be prevented every year by a trained spotter. Sometimes called a flagger, this designated person or persons should be used anytime equipment is moved in a congested area, when entering or exiting a building, or when the operator does not have a clear view in the direction of travel, especially when backing up. Spotters are essential to safely maneuvering around a job site. After all, at 18 and 22% respectively, caught between and struck by injuries on site account for 2 of the OSHA Fatal 4 hazards that make up nearly half of all construction-related deaths. To be an effective spotter, you must choose a position near the equipment where you'll be able to both maintain contact with the operator and see where the equipment could make contact with another object. There may be times when more than one spotter is required. For example, if an aerial lift needs to drive forward and swing the basket, then the basket, the wheels, and the swing radius all need to be monitored. Prior to moving the equipment, both spotter and operator need to perform a thorough workplace inspection to look for items such as drop-offs and holes, overhead power lines, buildings and other structures, and vehicles or equipment, to name a few. Once obstacles have been identified and the area of travel is established, the spotter must give clear instructions to the operator and prevent others from walking into the work area. A spotter should also fully understand the operator's visibility limitations. Someone who has never operated an aerial lift may not be aware of the blind spot between 35 feet and 70 feet to the side and front of the equipment, or that a hydraulic crane has a fully obstructed view to the rear right of the operator's seat. All equipment is different, and each individual piece of equipment will have different areas that the operator cannot see. These areas are called the danger zone. If you're unsure, communicate with the operator to determine where you need to watch from to be fully effective. Likewise, the operator has a duty to stop equipment operation and communicate with the spotter when he no longer has line of sight with them, or if their signals are not understood. Signaling for a crane load carries with it new potential hazards, and as such, Systems has implemented a policy that only allows for persons certified through NCCER to both rig and signal crane loads. That said, as Systems teammates, we all have the responsibility to call for an emergency stop if we see the crane moving in a direction that would endanger personnel or property. In conclusion, there's nothing hard about being a spotter, as long as we maintain communication, stay aware of our surroundings, and understand the equipment limitations. We can maintain a safe and productive job site. And remember, you have the power to stop anything that is unsafe. Safety is job one.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that video?
Very helpful, informative.
Right? Yeah. Yes.
Does that mean when equipment is to be operated. If there isn't a spotter on site, it can't be operated.
Yes, right. And the idea behind that is better be safe than sorry, right? And I know we can try and save 5 minutes and get something operated quickly, but if we end up hitting someone or hitting something, that job has to stop anyway. So it is important that if there's no spotter in the area, especially if it's in a tight space, we get a spotter before we continue, right? So again, the main risk with operating equipment, again, as we said, especially in tight spaces, is hitting people or hitting someone, right? Or hitting something, or even other vehicles in the area, right? So this job usually requires an operator and a spotter, and they work together to make sure that they complete the job without any accidents or incidents, right? And it's important that they have a good communication regime, whether it's verbal, whether it's via the radio, or whether it's hand gestures. So as your job as a spotter, again, is just to maintain control that whole work area. Nobody comes in without your authorization, and nobody moves towards the operator without your authorization. And the operator does not move without you letting them know that they've got the green flag to move, right? And sometimes if the areas are too big and it's hard to control, you can use barricading, right? You can use poles or fences around the work area so that no one comes in. And you can have a single entry exit area so you can control entrance there. That's another way. And there's this thing that we call positive comms or positive communication, right? It just pretty much means that communication that can be received by the person you're communicating to, and also communicated back to you. That's the main thing, right? And on our side, we've got a lot of RG trucks. The trucks are coming to deliver concrete, to pour foundations, or to pour precast units. And so as you can see, they're quite big trucks, and even though they've got mirrors, the visibility behind them is quite low. And these trucks work in close proximity with the people on the ground that are pouring the concrete. So it's important that they do have a spotter so they don't run into anyone or even fall into the foundations that they are trying to pour. Right. As you can see in that picture here, it's quite a congested area, and you can see there are people who are working quite in close proximity to it. So if the operator doesn't know what's going on there, they might reverse and end up hitting the other truck, or a person might walk through that area and end up being caught in between, right? And as you know, as our site rules, you don't put yourself in the line of fire or in a position where you could be hurt or squashed. So those guys standing there, putting the spotters, will not put themselves in that line of fire. So it's a reminder for you as well, when you're operating there, you're trying to keep the operator safe and other people safe, but it's equally as important to keep yourself safe so you don't end up being the one who is injured, right? And as you can see, quite a few people are interacting with the machinery, and things go wrong. In that picture there, if you could identify who the spotter was, can you say who it is? It's in orange, right? In someone who's visible. So in an area where there are multiple people, it's good to identify who is the person controlling the area. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll have a high-vis vest, or a vest that's colored differently from everyone else, so we know what's in the area, who's in the area, and what things, who we can contact if we need to go to the area, and so on. And sometimes I'm using an example for pouring concrete with agitator trucks. You have two agitator trucks with a big pour, where you need a lot of cubes to be poured in that area. Instead of having it take hours with one truck, you might have multiple trucks going at the same time. So we call this a multi-truck pour, right? And there are a few safety things that we need to know there. That between the two trucks, we must maintain 600 millimeters of distance, right? So that's 0.6 meters between the two trucks, and that gives them enough space to maneuver without hitting each other. And also within that clearance, no one can stand in that clearance, right? It's just for the trucks. If we're standing there, we might end up finding ourselves getting caught in between, or end up being crushed, right? So if you've got multiple pumps, we have multiple spotters as well. So one truck per pump, the pump operator, and then that way you're not doing too many things. You're focused on the one thing, and otherwise, if you lose your focus, what can go wrong? Get injured or squashed. watch it, or even have someone else, right? Things like that. So we know the site on the site here we have risk assessments that we use. So if someone is operating and someone is sporting, both of them must sit down and agree on the risk assessment for operation. Have the tasks for the steps for the tasks laid out from one to whatever, and identify your responsibilities as a sport and operator, and then you sign on to that JHA or SWIMS. If someone else joins the area, they also have to sign on to that JHA or SWIMS, so they understand, they confirm that understand the risks that are present within that work area. So what is truck spotting, right? Again, is the act of parking vehicles or coordinating vehicles to come into their designated area without hurting anyone or hurting someone, right? Usually drivers have no one to assist them because again, any tight area, they can only see from the mirrors, but sometimes they don't see what's behind them, they don't see what's directly in front of them, and in those situations, they need a spotter. And so your roles as a spotter is provide like additional eyes or vision for the driver. So they always call you and say, hey, am I clear to move in? Am I clear to get out? Is anyone else coming? And then if you give them the all clear, they can move. And if you don't give them that all clear, they won't move so that they don't hurt anyone or damage anything, right? So again, you're here just to mitigate the risk. We've had incidents lately where people have run into things, into poles mostly, and those incidents could have all been prevented by having a spotter in place, right? I know sometimes we're waiting for someone to come and spot you. Say I'm waiting for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. That 5 minutes is worth it at the end of the day, because if you hit something like a pole or a power line, now the whole site is shut down, everyone goes home, and we have to wait for a day or even two before we continue. So the value of 7-10 minutes is not worth the risk that it comes with. So do make sure that if you are the one assigned to sport, take your job seriously, do the sporting, and if there are any issues, talk to your supervisor, control the area, and so on. And there's some other things that can mess up your concentration, right? So what things can take your concentration away if you're being a spotter? Other noises, yeah? Listen to music?
Yeah, but other things maybe.
Other things moving, yeah? Okay. Yeah.
So
Maybe-
your phone.
Your phone, right? Your phone can distract you.
If you're on the radio, some other people talking.
Yeah, other people plugged in the radio channel, right? Yeah. So it's important that you're always concentrating, because if you lose focus, something can go wrong very quickly, right? And if you're finding that either there is music playing too loud, you can just ask them to turn the music down. If there are other people on the radio channel, what you can do is you can talk with the radio, let them know just to keep the radio chatter down if it's not necessary. Or otherwise, what you can do is you can go on a private channel between you and the operator, and you can communicate that way. In some cases, they have two radios, one for the operator and one for everyone else in the site area, right? I think it will be up to you how you do that. And so again, as a sporter, you identify a hazards, right? You look at what could be possibly hit or could be damaged during this activity, right? So if you're working in an area there, let's say you've been asked to go and spot an EWP, an elevated work platform, right? What things did you look out for?
Elevated work platform.
Yeah.
Your eye, so you get like safety.
Yeah. Like if you're the spotter on the ground, what
Oh.
things are you looking out for?
People on the bottom.
People on the ground, yeah?
Like object, like things that might go down, you know,
Yeah, things that might fall down from the elevated work platform.
If the platforms are like on steady ground.
Yes, it's on steady ground and it won't slip and so on. So there are quite a few things you can look for, right? Some of them include like, even the weather conditions, right? If it's too windy, or if there's lightning in the area, or if there are any other obstructions or trees in the area that can affect the operator. We look out for those things, right? And communication. Communication is key, right? What happens if there's no communication between the spotter and the operator?
Man, you might hit someone. So
You get injured, right? You might hit something, you might hit someone. Yeah, something could go wrong, right? And that's why it's important to have that, right? What methods of communication can we use?
two-way radios
Two-way radios, yeah.
with the hand signals.
Hand signals always work, yeah. And even like shouting, right? Because your voice can travel, you can always shout if you need to, right? So what I've got for us here, right, is some of the hand signals we can use when we're out there sporting, right? And there are universal, these ones, right? And it's something that you can practice, right? So what we'll do is we'll get say Ethan, right? So you can see that sign there for turning, right? So someone has to turn that way, right? All you do is this is for turning. Yeah, you can just say this is for turning right, right?
Yeah.
And if someone has to turn left, how would you show them that they have to turn left?
If I was turning left, your left is that way.
That way, right? Exactly right. And if they're turning right, that way, right? And then if there's an emergency stop, what would you do? Yes.
What?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Stop.
Stop, right? Great work, Ethan. You can see that. Hey, Vu, get up. It's your turn, right? If someone is coming towards you, right? How do you tell them to come towards you slowly, to proceed slowly? What do you say? Your hands facing you.
And up.
Yeah, that's it. So you're saying come to me, but come slowly, right? Yes, that's it. Nice. And how do you tell them to stop? That's it right there, and that will be your stopping signal, right? And perfect, you can take a seat, right? And so that's a signal you can use, right? You can use your whole hands, right? There are some situations where you can just use your hand itself, especially for areas where you're working in a tight spot, where someone can only see your hand, not part of your body. You can always again say, okay, this is again coming slowly, right? And there's another one, except you find just come back in, just tap your rear. Another communication method, right? And then there are some easy ones, right? Forward, yeah, and stop, right? And okay, right? There's some other ones that we can use to communicate that, right? So let's say, for example, right? Let's say you are working outside and you have a radio, but you see a group of people coming towards the area. They don't have a radio. How would you communicate with them when they come to your area? Right? Can you use and signals? Yeah. And what else can you do if they don't have a radio? Loud voice. I just say, hey guys, stop there, right? Good. Let's say you're working with a crane operator. He's way up in the crane and you're way down on the ground here, and he can't hear you because his door is closed. How would you communicate with him?
Just hold them to a radio.
To a radio, right? You say, hey, let me chat to you. So that's it there. And then in situations where you don't have access to your radio, let's say you don't have a radio, someone is in the vehicle and they can't hear your voice, how will you communicate with them? Hand signals, right? Yes. So again, you can communicate in any way, shape or form, as long as the other person has received that communication and knows what is required of them. So again, the best practice, right, is again, make sure your areas are nice and set up well. You identify where people need to go, where the movement needs to be. You identify your communication methods, and sometimes some equipment is sensors and cameras that can assist with them. But most times you'll be the person to coordinate that area and make sure nobody hits anything or damages anything. And as a sporter, I can remember to identify any hazards associated with the task and put the controls in place. So an important thing I want to talk to you about is this one, where we say anyone can stop the job. All of you have the authority to stop a job if you feel it's unsafe, or if you feel like someone could be hurt, or someone could be damaged, right? It's called the Stop Work Authority, right? And you all have that. You won't get in trouble for stopping work. You may just as well be saving your life. So that's a kind of responsibility that you have. Also, that authority that you have. Don't take it lightly. Do use it. And so if you do stop work, right, it doesn't mean just go sit down and be on your phone. You stop the job, you call the supervisor and say, hey, I don't feel safe because of A, B, and C. You put the controls in place, and you go back to work, right? It's all in the point of keeping everyone safe, while also doing the work that we need to do. So together we can work together to avoid incidents and any potential injuries, right? Again, just a bit of a summary here. So what are the 3 communication methods?
Two-way,
radio,
hand signals,
and loud voice.
That was
voice,
yeah. And And if you feel like something's about to go wrong in the area, what are you gonna do?
Stop it.
Stop the job, right? And when you stop it, who do you tell? Supervisor, right? Now, good job, good job. And as a sporter, right, you're here to protect other people in the area and the operator. And who else are you protecting? Yourself. And how do you make sure that you don't end up getting run over or caught in between stuff?
Keep a safe distance away.
Keep a safe distance away. Yeah. No, that's it. And pretty much that's the main session, right? So after this year, you can go out there, you can start working as sporters. And the main thing is before you do your sporting activities, talk to the operator. Agree on a communication method, right? So how we're going to talk to each other so we understand each other, right? Whether it's via radio or via hand signals or via the Twitter or just as verbal, right? And also have something called a hold point. So if something goes wrong, this is a hold and everyone stops. There is no negotiation about it, right? That's the main thing. If you can do those things, you'll be kept safe, you'll keep other people safe, and you won't get injured as well, or you won't get any damages or incidents happening as well. And also, most importantly, stay focused on what you need to do. The distractions around the website, but try and stay focused and minimize those distractions as much as possible. Any questions from you guys? No. Are you feeling confident to work in this process?
Very
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had to choose one machine to spot, which one would it be? Cranes?
Dump truck, man.
Yeah. Because you guys at the moment they're all trade assistants. Is anyone wanting to be an operator one day?
Yeah.
And what would you want to operate?
Excavator.
Excavator, yeah. And you do this? How about you, Loiso? Which one operate? Forklift maybe? Okay, that's good. Ethan?
Probably like like a heavy crane.
Heavy crane? Yeah. Cranes are again very particular equipment. It's very good. What's it called? It's always nice in the operate. They are very exciting to watch. How about you?
It's like a warehouse for
Warehouse forklift? Yeah. No, that is good, right? And that with all those, just making sure that you if you need a spotter, you have a spotter in place, and you can avoid injuries from happening. That's it there. Is there anything else you guys wanna see from this session for next time?
I think that's it.
Sit here. Would it be better if next time we go outside and actually try and do and sport an actual operating vehicle?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. No, thanks. We'll get that for next time. What I will do is I will pass you around these evaluation forms, your feedback forms. Sorry. Just put your details up. You can just complete the form. They are anonymous, so you do not put your name on there. Just complete these and hand them back to me at the end of the session. You guys have all signed up to the attendance sheet, yes?
Yeah.
So after the session, I'll let your supervisors know that you guys have completed your spotter safety observer courses, and then you will be good to go and operate as.
The session title is 40.
The session title is Plan and Prepare to Work as a Safety Observer / Spotter. Thank you so much, team. That's the end of our session today. I'll see you next time for the next session. Just take a break and be confident out there when operating as spotters and do your job to your best. Yeah.
Alright,
Cheers.
thank you.